Hi, everyone. About a minute on the jump in U.S. CO2 emissions last year proves again how hard it is to cut carbon. The Rhodium Group just released a report which estimated that last year, 2022, U.S. emissions jumped by about 1.3%. This came along with a jump in GDP of about 1.9%. And that's the historic trend. When GDP is rising, CO2 emissions increase because we're using more energy. We're using more hydrocarbons. And last year is no different. You remember during COVID, GDP and CO2 emissions fell dramatically, but now the economy is growing and so are CO2 emissions. And this is the second year in a row that U.S. CO2 emissions have increased. The part of the Rhodium Group report that jumped out to me were the numbers for transportation. And transportation accounts for the biggest single segment of overall CO2 emissions in the U.S. And the Rhodium report estimates that emissions from transportation grew by about 1.3%, which of course is the overall increase in CO2 emissions. Meanwhile, emissions from the power sector from electricity dropped by about 1%. Some of that is nat gas replacing coal, some is an increase in renewables, but the increase in transportation emissions, to me, shows again that is the hardest part of the economy to decarbonize. You can love oil, you can hate oil, but if oil didn't exist, we'd have to invent it. It is a miracle substance, and almost our entire transportation system depends on oil. So this latest Rhodium report shows again that we can talk about the energy transition, we can talk about decarbonization, but it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to take a long time. Okay, follow me on Substack, robertbryce.substack.com. Thanks a lot. See ya.